Welcome to Hard Mode and Hardware, and welcome back to a beginner's guide to getting started in Astroneer. So, in this video I'm going to go through 3 more big items that I think should be the next ones you build, definitely after you've got this little base set up. You don't need to build the auto arms before you build these, but you will need the other 3 items really. You need a large printer, the research chamber and the smelting furnace, because you'll need to make the materials to build these. But these 3 items are invaluable to keeping you going and pushing you further. So the first one I'm going to go through is one that will allow you to go much further, much quicker, and also bring back research items from further away, because that is one annoyance, is trying to get those research items back to your sort of hub without running out of oxygen, and that's the buggy. So I'll just take that off for a minute. So the buggy costs 1500 research, so it's fairly cheap as they go. It's just 1 compound and 1 aluminium to make, and once you build the buggy you will also need the rover seat. You need a seat on it to be able to use it. The single seat rover seat you will have unlocked as soon as you start the game. That's just 2 compound to build, and that just sits there like that. The only other thing you will need is a single slot power generation device of some description, because you need to be able to charge the buggy. So you can either use the small solar or the small wind turbines, but you can also use a small generator, which is what I do because it's cheap and cheerful. So all you need to do is carry around at least 1 organic material, and then you can charge it. And I'll show you in a minute, it does charge quite a lot from very little organic material, so that's good. So to go with that, you also really, to make life easier to bring things back, obviously the research items you've got to carry, unless you've got a packager. So that's the next thing I would build if you're building the buggy, is build a packager as well. So the packager is 1000 research, and it's just one. Once you've researched it, it's just 1 graphite. Graphite's freely available in the mountains, so you can easily pick it up. And then once you've got the packager, what you can do is use that to condense down an item to be able to carry it on your backpack. In this case, a research item, which we're going to go and look for in a moment. So first things first, we need to build a packager so I can show you how this works. So I'll come back in a moment when I've built a packager. Okay, so I went and got some graphite out of the ground, and I've built a packager which is sat there. Don't forget that you can also get graphite from soil centrifuge, so you get 1 graphite for each canister of earth. So that's always a good thing to remember if you need packages, because graphite, instead of going digging in the mountains for graphite, you can just create it from any old soil. So I've got 3 packages there. So what I'm going to do, we'll go for a drive. I'll show you how the buggy works in certain ways, and then we'll go and find some research items and show you how the packager works. So as you can see, it's a lot quicker to get around for a start, which is, you know, always good. Do watch out for big holes in the ground, because it's a pain to get out again. You have to start building ramps and things like that. So some things to note about the buggy. As you can see, it's got a battery meter on the back. When that runs out, it'll need to recharge. Once you're out of the buggy, it will provide oxygen but not power, so you can't use it as a base for machines out in the wild or anything like that. But you can use it as a permanent oxygen tether, and as far as I can work out, it doesn't take any of the battery life once you're not in it, but it will still provide oxygen, which is good. So let's just keep driving till we find some research items. Hopefully we'll find some in a minute. Okay, so I found some research items. As you can see, we've got 1 bar of battery left on the buggy, so I'll show you how that charges and how little you need to charge it in a minute. But first of all, we'll get these research items, and as you can see, I'm still tethered. It's not using power, so it is a good safety net as well, to have this, because you can always get oxygen out in the middle of nowhere. Even if the battery's low on the buggy, that's fine. So we'll pick up this research item. You just put it on the floor like that. You go into your backpack, you put a packager literally sat on top like that. Push the green button. Oh, hang on, sit it on top. There we go. And then you hold F to pack it. It will package it up, and that can be put in your backpack like that. So you can carry multiple research items in your backpack just like that. So, and that means you can bring back 3 or 4 at once, which is a hell of a lot quicker. So packager definitely is worth getting regardless of what point in the game you're at, even at the very start, because you can bring research items by the half dozen. So it's definitely worth getting. once you've got the buggy, then you must have the packages because it'll make life a lot easier. So now that we're in the buggy, hang on, actually let's get it out. So obviously we've got 1 bar of battery left, so all I need to do is just turn on the small generator to charge it. As you can see, it charges very quickly, doesn't use very much organic at all. Just remember to turn the generator off, otherwise you'll waste all that lovely organic matter. So I'm going to go and find some more research items and bring them back, and then we'll talk about the other 2 items that I've built, which are crucial. Okay, so I've picked up 4. I've got 4 research items now, so I'm just trying to find my way home. I'm following the sun to find my way home. But I just thought I'd show you this. The battery's completely run out on the buggy, but as you can see, I'm still getting oxygen. So if your battery does run out, you're not completely without oxygen. However, you do need some way to charge it, otherwise you're probably not getting back alive. So I've got this, so I'm going to charge it. That's fine. But don't forget, if you've got one of these generators, you can just pick up organic matter anywhere, and that's you sorted for the buggy. But just a little note to know that, little note to say that if you do run out of battery power on the buggy, you can still get your oxygen supply, so that's good. So I came out what I'm going to call east, because that's the way the sun rises based on my base. So I'm now heading west because I've got myself turned around, which can happen. But I know that I came out east towards where the sun comes up, so I'm now heading to where the sun goes down so that I can find my way back. So I'm going to carry on working my way back, and I'll see you when I get back to the base. Okay, so the next item I want to show you is the chemistry lab. So the chemistry lab is 1600 research. It costs 1 ceramic, 1 tungsten and 1 glass to build. So ceramic comes from clay, which you can find around, or I think you can create in the soil centrifuge, and you put it in the smelting furnace and you get ceramic. Tungsten comes from wolframite, which is on the moon Desolo, the moon of this planet, which I'll go and show you in a moment. So it's fairly easy to find. It's one of the main resources on the moon, but you do have to get it from the moon. It comes from wolframite. And then there's glass, 1 glass, which is just the glass material, which is kind of the pink stuff. I'll go down in the cave in a second and show you. But those 3 items give you the chemistry lab, and what the chemistry lab does is it lets you combine certain elements to make new elements, as opposed to the likes of the smelt furnace, where you get, you know, the equivalent. You put in 1 resource and you get its sort of smelted equivalent out. This one will combine different resources, which I'll show you in a moment. But first of all, I'll show you how to get glass, and then where to get wolframite. So I will come back in a second when I've found some of the glass material just to show you. Okay, so this is the material that you make glass from. It's actually quartz. I should have remembered the name. I apologise. I should remember the name. But yeah, this is what it looks like. It's in the first level of the caves here, so it's not very far down. So you're looking for this pink crystally stuff. This is the quartz, and you take this away and smelt it, and it becomes glass. What I'll do now is I'll head up to the moon, and I'll show you what wolframite looks like, so you can easily find that as well. Okay, so I've come to Desolo to show you what wolframite looks like, but in the process of doing that, I've accidentally hit the mother lode on this site. So I've found a site that's got a lot of ammonium around it. It's got a lot of resources under it, and I've accidentally found a medium generator, which means I don't have to pay for the plan, but also don't have to pay for the materials to use it. So I've created a packager, which I'm now going to package this medium generator up with. I'm going to stick that and take that back to silver, and I'm going to take the carbon with it because it runs on carbon as opposed to organic. And there's some wolframite over there, which I'm now going to show you in a second. But I just thought I'd show you this. These are the sort of things you can accidentally come across. So I found myself a medium generator. What I'll do, I'll quickly show you in another video. I'll show you what I've done to make sure that I know where this site is in future. It's quite straightforward, but it's a good handy tip to have if you're starting out. If you find a good place for resources and things like that, then there's some things you can do to make sure that you know where this site is. But I'll come back to you in a minute when I can show you the wolframite. Okay, so this is what wolframite looks like in the ground. This is what makes tungsten, which we need for our chemistry lab. So it's this kind of greeny yellow material. It's only on the very first sort of level of the moon Desolo, so it's quite easy to come across. And in the process of finding this, obviously I've hit all the goodies, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So yeah, I'm just going to gather some of this up. So I've got the tungsten. because it is easy. It's only found on Desert. You can't find it on Silver, so we'll take a supply of it back with us, which would be handy. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I'm back on Silver. I've got my wolframite that I'd need to create the chemistry lab, even though I've got it over there anyway. But the big find was the medium generator. So this I will talk about in another video. But needless to say, this is handy to have because it creates more power from the same amount of resources. It's going to run all of these machines. Look at them. I'm also working on some other things that I'm going to build in the next video as well. But for now, let's get back to this chemistry lab. So we've built the chemistry lab. We've got our tungsten, we've got our glass and ceramic. They're easy enough. We know that this is what wolframite now looks like. So this creates the chemistry lab. So let's have a look at the chemistry lab and see what we can create. So as you can see, you take two items and they create something else that is sort of not easily obtainable or can only be obtained through the chemistry lab. So rubber, for instance, is used in quite a few things. That's just organic and resin. That's dead easy. So you just pop your organic and resin in and it would create one rubber. It's that simple. And the same for all these things. So you can get plastic, aluminium alloy, tungsten carbide, graphene, diamond, hydrazine, silicon, explosive powder, steel, titanium alloy, nanocarbon alloy. So these things all come in much later on with much more advanced things. But for now, all you need to know is that you can create these fancy, ingredients, these fancy materials using the chemistry lab. And some of them, if you look, so like these are all just two different resources. So you just put tungsten and carbon in there, you get tungsten carbide. Which will be used for like drilling tools and things like that. But some of them, if you look at that, so this one, ammonium and ammonium plus hydrogen, and hydrogen comes, so you'd put one ammonium in there, two ammonium in there, and hydrogen in fuel in there, and you create hydrazine. And hydrazine is another thing that is used in more advanced machinery. But the hydrogen, the fuel, comes from the atmospheric condenser, which leads me on nicely to the atmospheric condenser. So this is 2200 research, bytes of research. It's one plastic, one glass, one iron. So the iron comes from the moon of Novus, which I will show you in a second. Cue the cutaway. Okay, so for the iron, for the atmospheric condenser, I've come to the moon of Novus. It's the moon of a different planet. And this is what it looks like when you land. So I'm going to take you deep down into this horrific cavern that I've found. Much worse, feels a lot more oppressive than the ones on Silver or Desolo, but there you go. The tunnels all seem to be a bit more cramped and a bit more. It may just be that this particular tunnel is a small one, but anyway, it's got a freakier vibe to it, put it that way. So I'll take you down to where you find the hematite, and hematite is how you get iron in Astroneer. So what you're looking for is, if I just get my terrain tool out, what you're looking for is that symbol, which is like a dark red 6-pointed snowflake kind of shape, and obviously these red jagged crystals are the hematite. Now I'm completely full, so much so that I'm actually going to sacrifice, I might even sacrifice both canisters for this one, just so I can take plenty of iron back. Now I'll keep one of the canisters, that'll do for now. I've got quite a lot of iron. So I'm going to head back to the planet now, to Silver, and we're going to build the atmospheric condenser, and then I'll show you how it works and what you can do with it. Okay, and as you can see, just blasted off from Nova, so I'm going to head back to Silver in a second, which is over there. But just to show you where we are, Novus is this moon here, and it is the moon that's orbiting around Vezania. Novus is quite a good place to get iron because it's only in the very shallow cave, so it's quite easy to find. So, well, hematite I should say, not iron. Once you've got the hematite, you can make it into iron, but it's in the very shallow cave, so it's a lot easier to get on Novus. There are some nasty plants and stuff, but you can easily avoid them. Anyway, I'm going to head back to Silver now, and we're going to build that atmospheric condenser. The glass I've already shown you comes from quartz, dead simple. Plastic, handily, comes from the chemistry lab. So you may have seen it a minute ago. So if we go back and find the plastic. So plastic is literally carbon and compound. Where does carbon come from? Carbon comes from smelting organic. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So all you need to do is harvest up some plants, throw it into the smelting furnace, and you get your carbon. You pop your carbon and your compound in here, you get your plastic. Your plastic then helps you make the atmospheric condenser. So the atmospheric condenser, basically, it depends what planet you're on. Let's just have a look. So depending on which planet you're on, this will produce different substances. So for instance, on silver, it will do 75 ppU of hydrogen on silver. Argon, insufficient concentration, so we can't do that on silver, but on a different planet we can do argon. We can do the same with methane. Nitrogen we can get a lot of on silver if we need it. Sulfur we can't do, and helium. So basically what you'll end up doing, which I may do down the line in these videos, is you'll have an atmospheric condenser on different planets. You can just package it, the same one up, and take it and run it for a while on each planet, but you know, for the materials it takes to build it, might be worth just building one on each planet eventually. So we'll do the hydrogen here because we can use the hydrogen in the chemistry lab as well. So all you need to do is just literally turn it on. And what you'll find it does is it starts condensing the atmosphere, and you're like, well, okay, what do we need to... do we need a canister? No, this actually produces its own canister. So I'll just wait for this to finish. So as you can see, it condenses the atmosphere, and then it starts pumping it into this canister, and this canister has 5 charges of the gas that you're collecting. So in this case we've got 1 charge of hydrogen in there so far. If you come around here, I've already got one with 4 in that I've used. But these, it's handy that you don't need to create another canister of any description to use this. So literally all you can do is turn it on and it'll just keep running. Obviously it's quite power hungry, especially when you're running other things like research lab. But we'll solve that in the next video. I'm going to do a special on power, I think, in the next video, because everything's power hungry and we've got like 6 major machines plus printers on the go now. So yeah, we'll do power in the next video. But anyway, that's how the atmospheric condenser works. It's very straightforward. But this is the key to getting along in Astroneer, is this synergy between machines. So this atmospheric condenser, so you need the chemistry lab to create the atmospheric condenser. Once you've got the atmospheric condenser, you can use the chemistry lab, use the hydrogen and other gases in the chemistry lab to create even more advanced substances to make better machines and more advanced machines. So that's why I like this game so much, because it builds, everything builds on everything else, so it's great. So anyway, I think that is probably more than enough of my voice for this video. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see more Astroneer videos in future. And drop a comment below if you're playing Astroneer and if you got stuck in anything, or if you need any advice. I'm always trying to reply to all the comments. I enjoy reading them, so definitely pop a comment below. Next video might actually be Subnautica. Yeah, that's right, another survival explorer game I love playing. I haven't done any videos on yet, so I might hit Subnautica next time. But we'll definitely be coming back to the Astroneer videos because Astroneer is brilliant. So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash all the various buttons and comment and everything, you know, the things people always ask you to do. And don't forget to play it on hard mode. Bye!